my name is Kit Allen, and I'm a newish YouTuber. I don't know why I said newish. I am new. This will be only my second video, and I thought I'd bring you along to hear some things about Project Briar, which is my main work in progress. Project Briar is, I have completed a single draft of it, but it was a pantsing draft, which means everything did not make sense. There was no real plot to it. So with this draft, a lot has changed, except for a few details. But a lot has changed. And I'm outlining for this draft, which can be seen here. I really want to get into the drafting portion of this so then I don't get stuck like I did last time, nor do I just randomly put scenes that don't make sense, because that's definitely something I did with the original draft of Project Briar. Okay, so just to give a little bit of backstory, Project Briar is about a woman named Sella. She was once a kaijin hunter, so like a monster hunter of sorts. She was heavily abused by her father to the point of death multiple times. She was killed by her father in front of the clan, her village, and he was ultimately put on trial and was going to die. But instead, he went missing, and soon after his missingness, it's not a word, but I'm making it one, her village started to die off because of a virus of sorts. Some people went missing, some people died. The ones that went missing, they assume that they just ran away because they didn't want to die, but in reality, they were turning into kaijin, so the monsters of my world. They were turning into kaijin and were actually being taken to a secluded place, which is actually the main setting of the second book. This is going to be a duology. So it's about Sella. She has gone through all of this, but after this happened with her father, after being seen, killed, and then come alive, which they just assumed that, he didn't hit a bad spot. They don't think he killed her. They think he just hurt her really badly and were angry with him. But in reality, she was killed and she was brought back alive, which was part of the reason why her father was abusive and killed her a lot, because he saw her as death incarnate. Anyways, after what happened with her father, her betrothed, Milo, he is the main antagonist of book 1. He took her weapons, pretty much made her weak, or in her eyes, weak. So he took her weapons and he began to abuse her in a different way than her father. More mentally rather than physically. But Milo, which I'm hoping to show through the story, Milo is very much a parallel to her father. He is doing stuff that her father used to do, like drug her in order to make her complacent. So he is just as bad, if not worse, than her father, because he pretends to love her. I don't know if I should say pretend, because he thinks that he loves her. He thinks that she is the love of his life. But the story really starts when Eden. Sella. Eden was her old name. Sella is trying to search for a cure for her youngest adopted brother. He is currently sick with the plague, in a coma, unable to move, unable to speak, really dying. And she's trying to find a way to save him no matter what. Now, she has to do this secretly because Milo has actually put traps around the house, traps outside, inside. He has forbidden her from leaving the house under the guise of protection. But something happens, Sella, while checking her. So I'm just slightly in the end of Act 1 outlining right now. The idea is that she finds something in her traps for the Kaijin so she uses her traps to trap the Kaijin in order to use them as experiments. So she tries to figure out a cure with the Kaijin pieces. But she finds something in the trap. And that something is not a something, it is a someone. And that is Rune. Which you find out that Rune herself has been trapped and imprisoned by Milo for months now. And Rune also has a secret. She has the virus too, but it is portraying in her differently than it has anybody else. So while others have been either dying or going missing because they are changing into Kaijin, Rune can change between human and Kaijin. She can't control it yet, but she is still in control of her body, versus the others they lose control, complete control. And that's where I have this important note up here, because it is very important to the story for me to know that the Kaijin of the virus are actually still human. They just can't control anything that happens. So that's kind of a little bit. She goes searching so after she finds Rune in this trap, they are found by Milo, who ultimately decides to drug them. And they leave her brother behind. Now, Sella, her main priority is her brother. She wants to ensure he's alive, that he stays alive. She loves him to death, almost like a son to her. So a lot of the story is her searching for him. She wants to find him. She wants to make sure he's okay. She wants to ensure that he does not die. So that's the biggest thing. Her biggest want is to find her brother. So that's kind of a little thing. Obviously, it's not fully outlined, nor is it fully written, which means a lot of things can change, especially as I work through the story and continue outlining and figuring out the personalities of these characters. So I talked about Sella. I did want to say that she one of the biggest things I enjoy with these characters is making sure to know their want, need, and misbelief, because it's very important. So her want is to be seen as strong enough to not need love, so she won't be imprisoned anymore. Because her misbelief is, if someone is protecting me, it doesn't mean they care about me. It means they believe I am dangerous and undeserving of freedom. And she really needs to see that being loved doesn't always mean that they want to shove her in a prison. Which both Milo and her father have both created this prison around her under the guise of love. So that's where she is getting this love equals prison mentality. Vale is a character that will show up a little bit later. He is one of the main characters of the story. Not POV wise, it's just he has been imprisoned in this cave, which is the setting for the second book. He is imprisoned in the cave, forced to carry the virus that Sella's family and village have been succumbing to. So hundreds of years ago, he was pretty much made to be a prison of sorts for this virus in order to keep it contained and make it so that Sella's people, ancestors, could experiment and try to figure out the cure for it. But the thing is, soon after his imprisonment, they stopped trying. So his big want is to quit being the prison of the plague and allow it to erase humanity, because he sees humanity as evil, because they forced him into this position and then they left him rotting in this prison of sorts with this virus in his blood, which has ultimately changed him into a kaijin. So he is a monster of sorts now. Me and my significant other do kind of like to joke that I am making a monster F romance, but it's not. There's going to be no sexual content in this because I don't enjoy writing it. He's not going to show up until a little bit later. Mainly, he's going to show up as a shadow or like a mental image to Sella, because they are inherently connected in some way or another, which I'm still brainstorming how they are. Rune she is cursed to be a kaijin. She wants to suppress that other self, which is understandable. When you suddenly are half a monster, of course you're going to be afraid of it, but she needs to ultimately learn how to use it, how to control it, and learn that it's not as dangerous if she can figure it out. Milo is the main antagonist. He is her Sella's betrothed, and he has this mentality that if he loves someone, he knows what's best for them. He's the only one who can do anything right and make sure anything... let's see how I worded it. Because he is Enneagram. He... Oh, okay, so he knows what's best. So I had to really look up a very unhealthy too, because this is what he is. He will be using his dominance as protection. He will manufacture dependency, saying you're nothing without me. He will guilt trip her. So, like, he's going to be a very manipulative antagonist. Seneca, he's not going to show up until later on, too. He's going to be a father figure to Sella, which I'm hoping will help her need to learn that love does not equal a prison, because there are so many different types of love. There's friendly love, there's romantic love, and there's familial love. And she really needs to understand that love just does not always mean a prison. Now, I forgot to even talk about this, but the Briar, the reason why it's called Project Briar is because they live in what is currently called the Briar. It will probably be changed later on, but this is the main setting of the whole first book that I'm planning. In this world of my story, gods fall, and They are miles to miles long and large, and as they rot, they create the kaijin, and some viruses, which is currently what they're dealing with. The briar is their home. It is a rotted out corpse. It is just the skeleton. What makes it different to most other tombs is that the briar is around the skeleton, pretty much making a prison of sorts. If you can't tell, prison is a very big theme in this story. Pretty much everybody has some sort of imprisonment, whether mentally or physically, that they are going to be overcoming. I didn't realize until I just said how many times, thought about how many times I've said imprisonment in prison. So the briar is their big thing. The briar wraps around and hides the tomb from the rest of the outside world. And the cave is where the second one is. This is where the kaijin that were created from the people that were caused by the plague were imprisoned here by the tribe that Seneca is the leader of. This was to protect the human race, albeit maybe not the best idea, because now Sella has to go and search for her brother there, because he may or may not have succumbed to said plague. Then I have some others which are more minor settings throughout the story. And then the kaijin, I kind of just grab images from Pinterest, just from Pinterest, to really figure out what I want them to look like. I haven't really figured out the magic and the species stuff yet, but still getting there. So I did not show that the side characters, this is her little brother that is adopted, that she is wanting to find and wanting to protect and save. He is a very little boy, so he is a child, and so she wants to save him. I've kind of talked about what I have for Act 1. She is experimenting on these kaijin, trying to find the cure for Avon's plague. There is going to be a lot of scenes of manipulation, abuse, not all physical abuse. And then the catalyst is soon after she finds Rune in her trap. The debate is where I'm currently working on, which what I've found that I'm going to be doing is I'm outlining the first act and I'm starting to write it so that I could see, because I am a pantser at heart in some ways. It's like I want to be an outliner, but I want to be a plotter, or I want to be a plotter, but I also want to be a pantser. So I'm trying to kind of plot out kind of what I want to happen, and then I'm going to write and see what happens, and if something changes a little bit, then I will plot out the next act, and then write, and then plot, then write, and then plot, and then write. And then hopefully I'll have a story done by next year. It will not be probably by the end of this year, because I am currently pregnant with my second child, and that will take up all of my time come October. So down here I kind of have my to-do. Sella has a mutation that connects her to Vale, so I have to figure out that. Milo is a very traditional man. He thinks women should succumb, so pretty much bow down to him and obey him, so I have to figure out some of the traditional aspects. I still haven't figured out what causes Rune to transform. Originally I was thinking werewolf-ish, and then I was like, this story does not really have any moon or sun obvious in the sky. It's very, very bleak, gloomy. What the heck is gloomy? And then I want to know when Milo is gonna disappear. if he disappears and if she's gonna have a confrontation with him. So this is Project Briar. I will be letting y'all know any updates, possibly every 2 weeks, just to kind of give myself a schedule. Be like, you need to update. Like, really need to. But next week, I'm going to show you how to create this. And possibly also how to create my project things by making it for Project Alien, which is an idea that I currently have. So that's all for today. I'm so excited to go along this process with you as I go through Project Briar and figure it all out. I hope to see y'all next time. Bye!